So here we are in Phoenicia. This is really the second turn, I think. The green player has the Overlord chit, and he really wanted the tracker card that was up. Now, he didn't want to put it up first thing. He looked at the cost and said, I have enough money for the tracker and something else. So the first thing he put up was another prospector, which he got outbid on, and he was kind of happy for that. And now yellow also has the mining ability and has a bonus on the smelter as well. If green had gotten both the prospectors, he probably would have been kind of unhappy with what he had, because all it really would do, other than a victory point, is give him an advantage on the smelter. The tracker, on the other hand, allowed him to flip the hunting card, which got him an extra point of production. If you look, the second space is 2-2 over here, but over here it's 3-2. That was pretty much the best he could do, although if he had some extra bucks, that would be cool. But the first tracker went over here. I don't remember for how much, I think 4. And then he had to end up paying all 5 of his card points for his tracker. Bit painful. But he really wanted that card. So now we go on to the next player, who will be yellow. And we'll see what he does. But he's already bought a card, has no money, so it looks like he'll do nothing. A reasonable choice. Alright, and I think things kind of fall out this way if the bids are high. And I think I've been overbidding for the most part. Alright, I'll keep going. So going around the table from there, yellow we saw didn't have much to do. Blue, I believe, put the dyer up, and red ended up buying that. It gives him a victory point, and it gives him a square towards the cloth making. Well, blue couldn't afford the granary that's up there, so he spent 2 in order to move a dude down to the training ground. Now, this is the kind of game I'm going to have trouble with, because it looks like you have to kind of save money, and I'm not good at that. I want to buy the best thing I can at the given moment. Purple could do nothing. Red, after having bought the dyer, has enough money to move a dude down, but he thinks with his storage, etc., he should be able to handle his production. He's only going to get 3 pips of production, which will allow him to buy a card, which he can hold. So he's in good shape. So we'll go to the admin phase. Okay, so here in the admin phase, the Overlord switched. Green and red have the same victory point total, but since red is not the person who held it before and green is, red gets the Overlord chip. We got new cards to fill out. The one granary stays, but the rest of these show up. And money came. Yellow managed to keep its 3 pips this time. Blue, however, had an extra pip and got boned the same way yellow did. I think that's kind of a weird situation, because it's only likely to happen early in the game, and probably with someone who's in this position. I would rather see that rule changed, I think, just because someone who's already lagging behind probably needs that help. But that's just me. Okay. And we go on to the third turn, starting up new auctions, etc. Another time around, and we see people have become somewhat more conservative, I think. And that's probably wise. An indentured worker was purchased by red. Bid 3, nobody overbid him. He was able to move him into hunting, improving his own production and victory points. Green picked up a granary, which gives him more hand-holding capability, gave him a victory point as well. He's still tied for the lead with red, and actually has more production as well. He's been doing pretty well, I think. Yellow, I think, moved a worker into hunting, giving him an extra victory point in production. Blue did the same, and he still has this huge reserve from that fort that he bought early on. Purple sprang on the glass-making card. Again, this isn't building up his engine for the most part, except that it's increasing his production each time. It's a kind of neat card. His only other option was the granary, which is a nice card too. Hopefully he's not going to screw himself here. He gets a card and a buck. He should be able to hold that over on his card. Okay, and now I'll take the production. I'm realizing I cheated on the first turn. The granary and the fort weren't supposed to come out on the first turn. They get reshuffled into the deck. I'm going to keep playing with them there, but realize that those are probably considered too potent or something, or maybe too expensive to have out on the first hand of cards. I'm not sure which. I don't really care. I don't think it affects play too much to have had them out there. Certainly not going to restart. This time around, green invested in a fort, getting more people. Yellow got a dyer. Advantage over on the blocks. Blue moved someone into hunting, giving them more production. Purple continued with the glass-making strategy. Yet another one. This was kind of a, geez, I'm so invested in it, I might as well just keep going. I'm not sure how wise this is. A granary looked really important at this point, but he's got the best production, which is definitely something, even if he doesn't have the population or whatever that looks like it was going to make it grow. At this moment, he's got the best production. And then red went ahead and also converted someone over to hunting. The game seems rather flavorless, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's okay. But as far as I'm concerned, this is the problem with a lot of the Euros. So many of them are just the same game repackaged. I know something like Carcassonne comes out and it's so different or whatever, but that's so different doesn't necessarily interest me. This kind of game does interest me, but I've seen others like it, and I have Puerto Rico, which I think is kind of like it, which I just picked up. I'm just not left with any great feeling that this is representing anything to do with what's going on. Anyway, here we go again. In terms of picking who's going first, I think it's yellow. I think it rotates in that direction. I'll look that up to make sure. But green, red, yellow are all tied. And we get some new cards. Ooh, we're out of deck. That means I'm going to shuffle the second deck and put it in place. I haven't shuffled it yet, so I'll break here. But then I'm going to, assign the production, etc. So indeed, yellow would have gone first. It says to the left, but since I play not clockwise, right is the correct direction. Anyway, we got a couple new cards come up from the new deck. The Die House, which, if this happens, the big thing that it allows is the cloth making card, which for 11 is a somewhat better, the tool cost is somewhat better than mining. The people with mining probably don't really want it. They probably want to improve their mining. But this guy has a dyer. This guy actually has mining and a dyer. Having bought the dyers, you probably do want it, because you'll be getting a cheaper purchase on the card itself. And it's a fairly expensive card at 14 base. Those may not go. The Shipyard at 7 is a little funny because that's down here. That gives 5 and then 8 off of a number of cards. Ships, port, trading fleet. Most of them are, none of them are available now, and most of them aren't available until set 4. Hard call whether or not, to buy that right away. But it gives 2 victory points. The die house gives 3. So they're certainly more potent cards. The real trouble is, how much should you be and this is, where the thinking is, I guess. And how much should you be thinking about moving people and trying to get your people into good jobs? I got a pile of people here. I should be using them. I shouldn't be busy looking at what new cards I can get. And that's kind of hard for me, especially on a first playing, to come to that decision. Oh, there's new stuff. I want the new stuff. But I think that's where this game probably kind of is cool, is you're spending the same stuff to move your workers around that you got to spend on the cards, and the cards are pretty expensive. Then again, so's moving your workers, and you don't have a lot of money. And this is probably where the greenhouse, the granary comes into effect. All right, and going around again, yellow was unable to get one of the couple of cards that they put up. They put the dyer and I think a granary up. They were unable to get either of them, so they actually saved their entire wealth. Blue moved somebody into farming, getting more production. They are now in the lead in the production race. Farming is a good place to put your people if you don't have anything else. Hunting seems kind of worthless unless you can get the advantages with the trackers to it. But hunting's much easier to get to. Over here to the Mr. Glassmaker. Well, he got 2 cards actually. He got the granary and the fort. Remember, he had the highest production. So now he has a pile of people. He's fallen behind in production with blue, but he's got a lot more resources that he can start moving into farming, or hopefully something else. However, I don't know, he may not have the option because of mining being gone, the mining advance. He might, because he can get a smelting or something like that, but we'll see. And, not all the prospectors came out. I wonder if I put somebody in the wrong deck. Sounds likely, or else I'm missing a card. Oh no, there were 2. Yeah. Oh, that's improved mining. Okay. Alright, and then on to, let me put a little chip down for him if he has the prospector. He doesn't. Oh, I've got things. It's the trackers that I'm looking for. Purple is the missing one. No, he's got one, and green has one. Green is missing. Okay. I improved his hunting. I just didn't give him the tracker. And what do they help with? They help with Caravan when that comes out, which is in this deck. Okay, what did Red do? Red managed to buy another dyer. I think. Maybe not. He may have just moved somebody into hunting. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure he had enough for a card. So I think, yeah, the dyer, yellow tried to put a dyer up and red bought it. Okay. And green looks like they may have held. I don't know if they had this fort. I think they did already. They just didn't want to spend on things. Alright, so we'll go on to production. Red and purple are the next players. Purple becomes the dominant player. That swings things over. And then I'll add some new cards. The caravan. The smelter. And the smelter. Now you'll notice something. Each of these has a little house. They produce more storage. It's possible to have bought a granary to get extra houses, but it seems like kind of a waste to do that. But these give additional advantages, and that makes them cooler. So we have a lot of cards out. The smelters are cheap at 6. But cards are becoming probably less, I think, desirable. Not only because they're more expensive and harder to get, and therefore you have other choices instead of them, but also because the players are becoming more refined in their choices. I'm getting more of an idea of the game. Okay, so that's that, and then I'll hand out the production cards and such.